Well, this has been a while, hasn't it? Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jack. Today we have the return of the reviews, a long-awaited return of the reviews. It's been a hell of a long time, like I said in that little intro bit. We had the premiere of NXT on USA Network. Well, half of it was on USA, the other half was on the WWE Network. But either way, it was the premiere of NXT on the USA Network, and it was a pretty decent show. Today we're going to go straight through it, reading out the results and going through my thoughts on what's occurred. The first shot of the night was Triple H himself, the daddy of NXT, if you will, close up of his face and talking about what NXT is, what it can be, and you need to get involved inside NXT. He then comes out to the live arena at Full Sail with all the fans screaming his name and screaming NXT. And it's just a good way to kick off the show. Everyone knows who Triple H is. And then we properly kicked off the action with a fatal four-way to determine a challenger for Shayna Baszler's NXT Championship. It was between Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, and Mia Yim. This was a great fast-paced match with all four women showing that they really wanted to win this. They actually put all their heart and effort into this. You know, some wrestlers, you could kind of tell that they're not really into a match, but all four females here, they wanted to win. They wanted to get that opportunity at the NXT Women's Championship. And early on, inside the first minute or so, there was already several broken up pinfalls from pretty much each woman had their chance to perform a pinfall, and each woman had their chance to break up a pinfall, essentially. It was really fast-paced, really awesome to see. We had some action on the outside of Bianca Belair, literally just chucking Candice LeRae around on the outside. Mia Yim hitting a tope suicida onto both of them, and that set up the moonsault from Io Shirai, the queen of the skies, if you will, hitting the moonsault, and that brought us up to the first commercial break of NXT in the USA history. And I was expecting, okay, we'll come back, two of them be in the ring. You know, a standard main roster ad break, we'll come back, two of them in the ring, rest lock, and then we'll carry on with the action. We came back from the ad break in the middle of a Tower of Doom, which was great to see. Just go bam, straight in the action. We don't need rest holds in between. Just bam, straight into the action. Get you hooked instantly. A Tower of Doom, which Bianca Belair got the worst of. But Belair did recover, hit a KOD onto Candice LeRae for a 2 count. Mia Yim broke up the pinfall, hit the protecting neck onto Belair. This meant that Mia Yim could finish off Candice LeRae. With Candice LeRae on the top rope, Mia Yim tried to powerbomb her off the top rope and then went the other way, picked her up on her shoulders, walked backwards, only for Candice LeRae to hit a spiked Hurricane Rana, or a spiked Reverse Rana, if you will. Springboard Lion Salt onto Mia Yim, and Candice LeRae is the new number one contender for that NXT Women's Championship. Candice winning makes sense. She's the only one of the four that hasn't had a title shot yet, and she's been in NXT for a fair while now. It's 2 years, maybe more. I can't remember when she signed, but she seems to be in there for ages. I don't know if that's because of the storyline with Johnny Gargano and Ciampa. She was quite involved in that, but she's just been around and not done much. It sounds a bit harsh, but she's not done much in terms of anything in the women's division anyway. So it's finally glad to see her get a shot at the title, and that match will happen in 2 weeks' time against Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, Shafir, and Duke, they all came out to square up to Candice LeRae as they usually do, and that match will take place in 2 weeks' time for that NXT Women's Championship. Candice LeRae versus champion Shayna Baszler. Who will come out on top? Something big's going to happen, because in 2 weeks, another company's starting. I don't know if you've heard of them, All Elite Wrestling. They're starting in 2 weeks on TNT. So maybe something big happen. Maybe a title change? We got a video package for Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic about their... Just every match they seem to have seems to be an absolute classic. Just two big lads going at it, and they're just inhumane with their agility and whatnot. But it is confirmed that next week those two will have another match on NXT TV, on the USA Network. And like I said earlier, every match they seem to have is a classic. And I can't wait for it. I cannot wait for it. Just let them have this little feud for a little while longer and see what magic we can perform. After that, we had a 10 seconds match. I believe it was 10 seconds. I didn't count it. Between Sean Maluta and Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes took off his top hat, put it up onto the bar behind the top rope. Turned around, the bell rang, he turned around, and Maluta was running straight at him. So Grimes just decided to jump up, stomp on the Maluta's chest, and pick up the pinfall victory. Simple as that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our first main event of the evening. Obviously, this NXT, like I said earlier, half of it is on the USA Network, half of it was on the WWE Network. So this was the main event for the USA Network, and it is for the North American Championship between Roderick Strong and the champion Velveteen Dream. Just like the Fatal 4-Way, you saw that how much the title meant to both men. But this match, although it was a very good match, it never really kicked on into that higher gear that we know that Dream and Strong can get to. It was a tightly contested contest, if you will, with Strong hitting backbreakers, Velveteen Dream's everlasting charisma, all being on show for all to see. But it wasn't long before the rest of the Undisputed Era boys came down to cause some shenanigans, let's say. Velveteen Dream managed to hold off both Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. He then went up to the top rope with Roderick Strong lying flat into the middle of the ring, only for NXT champion Adam Cole, don't say it, the super kick Velveteen Dream off the top rope. Roddy picks Dream up, hits his, I think it's called the End of Heartache, another backbreaker, to pick up the North American Championship. And ladies and gentlemen, Undisputed Era hold all the gold. Adam Cole NXT champion, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly tag team champions, and now Roddy Strong as the new North American champion. Like I said earlier, it was a decent enough 20-minute match to close out the USA segment, if you will, of NXT, but it never really quite got into higher gears as such. It kind of, I wouldn't say it kind of went through the motions at certain points, but they could have just, because we all know how good Dream and Strong is, all they had to do was flick a switch and they could have got a 5-star match maybe out of them, but it wasn't to be. Let's not put all our eggs in one basket on the first week of NXT on a USA Network. Let's just build them up before we have a 5-star classic. Maybe we need that 5-star classic on October 2nd when the competition arrives, if you will. But like I also said, Undisputed Era have all the gold, and it'd be interesting to see now which baby faces come out and challenge them, and which baby faces come out and take the gold of Undisputed Era, and what that will do to their mentality, if you will. Will they break up? What will happen? Will KO somehow come over to NXT? The Undisputed Era storyline has some legs on it, and I can't wait to see what will happen. Right then, on to the WWE Network part of the NXT Hour 2, if you will. The reason why this is happening is because Suits is on, or something on the USA Network, so they can't have Hour 2 on the USA Network at the moment, or something dumb like that. So I think in a couple of weeks' time, it will be 2 hours. I think it's a couple of weeks. I can't remember. It's a couple of hours. 1 hour on the USA Network, 1 hour on the WWE Network, and then up until a couple of weeks, it will be both hours on the USA Network. Hopefully, we can get up to that point fairly quick, because switching between, USA Network and WWE Network could be quite a pain, I imagine. Not for us UK viewers. You're probably wondering, but you're from the UK, you don't have the USA Network. A VPN will work. Don't worry yourself. Just, if you haven't already, pick up a VPN and you'll be able to watch NXT. It's annoying, granted. If you want to watch it, you have to wait until the Thursday, I believe, to watch it. But get yourself, there's loads of VPNs out there. We're not sponsored by any, so I'm not going to name any, but get yourself a VPN, you'll be able to watch it. Anyway, our first match of the network segment of NXT was Pete Dunne and Arturo Ruas, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's in his G, I believe it's called. Is it a G? Can't remember. competitive match between two, which I didn't really expect. You know, Pete Dunne being the longest reigning United Kingdom champion, and Ruiz being kind of just in tag matches before on the taped episodes of NXT. He's had a couple of odd singles matches here, but it was quite competitive either way. But it was indeed Pete Dunne picking up the win with his finger snapping at the end, joint manipulation, if you will. Picking up the deserved victory. It makes sense for him, and I'm so happy to finally see Pete Dunne on live TV, finally making himself a established member, if you will, of that NXT roster. And although he's been ready for a while, he's ready to fly up that roster, no doubt, and pick up some titles on the way. Xia Li versus Aaliyah did not last long. I think, let me see here, it was like a minute or so, about a minute or so. And I coming into this, I saw this and I was like, Aaliyah's going to pick up a scumbag tactics, pick up a scumbag tactical victory. But it wasn't. It was actually Xia Li that picked up the victory against Aaliyah, which, proved me wrong. But yeah, Xia Li picking up a victory against Aaliyah in a pretty short match. And then going from a short match to a match that didn't happen. We were supposed to have Kushida versus Denzel DeJournette. But as Denzel came out to the ring, a certain stable followed him, and that stable was Imperium. We had three quarters of Imperium. We had Eichner, Bartel, and Wolf all surround the ring, Shield-esque, let's say, and start beating and wailing on Denzel. And the crowd were chanting his name. Everyone wanted him. The three in the ring turned towards the ramp, and out came the WWE United Kingdom champion, Walter. Oh my God, it's Walter. Oh my God, it's Walter. Walter then introduces himself and his team to the people that may not have seen them before. Obviously, if you've watched NXT before, you're seeing all four of these men. Walter's been on a takeover where he won the title. Wolf was obviously part of Sanity. And Eichner and Bartel have obviously been a tag team before on NXT. They were in a Dusty Rhodes Classic. They've been on NXT UK and all that jazz. But, the other half of this match, Kushida, he wasn't happy about what was going on. He came out and accused Walter of taking up his time. Stop using his time. This is Kushida's time to shine. Walter set the other three on Kushida, but Kushida, powering them off, scrapping with them, and got the upper hand before he jumped in the ring with Walter, managed to get away after Walter tried to swing across, but his little vest, whatever his vest warmer, body warmer thing, Walter dragged that off, and Kushida managed to get away wisely, relatively unscathed. And it looks like maybe next week, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to get Kushida versus Walter. And I want to be excited for this match, but I don't know how Kushida's going to do against a proper big man. He's not really faced a proper big man for a while anyway. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But I'm sure it'll be a good match. Another number one contendership match now, and this time it was for the Cruiserweight Championship. We had Oney Lorcan, who's been in and out of the picture for the Cruiserweight Championship, can't quite get back into that match with Drew Gulak, versus a returning Lio Rush. In my eyes, Lio Rush his return's a welcome one. I've missed him. He's a fantastic talent. What he did on the main roster might not be to everyone's taste, but, he did a job there at least. And having him return, especially somewhere like NXT, it will suit him right down to the ground. And this match kind of proved that as well. Both men took a lot of punishment in this match, especially Lio Rush, who went for a frog splash. As he landed, it looked like he tweaked his knee on landing. And I don't know if that was a work or he actually did tweak it. But Oney Lorcan saw this and jumped straight into a couple of Boston Crabs. And he then locked in an SDF onto Lio Rush. Lio Rush looked like he was fading from all the pain. And he managed to get that second wind, got up, got to the ropes, got to the bottom ropes. Oney Lorcan let go. And then for some reason, whatever reason, I guess Lio Rush is a bit of a heel. Lio Rush just slaps the piss out of Oney Lorcan. And Oney Lorcan got angry, as he does, Big Oney. He got angry. He started running at Lio Rush, but Lio Rush ran at him back, hit a lovely, lovely standing Spanish fly, went up to the top rope, hit a frog splash, and ladies and gentlemen, it will be Drew Gulak versus Lio Rush for the Cruiserweight Championship. And honestly, I don't know who's going to win that. I don't know how wise it is for a returning Lio Rush to win a championship, but that's going to be an excellent, excellent matchup between the two, and I certainly cannot wait. The main event time, well, the second main event time, if you will, this time of the WWE Network, Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane in a street fight, and my God, was this a mess. A good mess, but still a mess. Riddle and Dane obviously started out in the ring, they started brawling everywhere, right out to the back, and they came across Volta, who obviously putting double duty tonight. Volta was just, having the time of his life in the parking lot. Riddle and Dane brawled right into Volta. He was not a happy bunny about it, so he started choking out Matt Riddle. The rest of Imperium jumped in, started beating the crap out of Riddle, before, out of absolutely nowhere, it seemed like the whole male locker room just piled in. We had the Street Profits, we had Oney Lorcan, we had the Forgotten Sons, we had Pete Dunne, we had many, like I said, all of the locker room, it seemed, just came piling out into the parking lot. They were all brawling. You did not know what was going on, essentially. They all managed to get back into the ringside area, still brawling, all of them still going, before security broke up Killian Dane and Matt Riddle, which is strange, considering this match was a street fight. Why is security getting involved? As Mauro Ranallo said on commentary, just let them fight. It's a street fight. You can't have security breaking them up whether there is a brawl or not. Oh well, fine, whatever. It's not the first mental thing that WWE have done, but it just kind of cement how much they hate each other, I guess, that they need to be broken up. But don't put the street fight element in it. This doesn't need to be a match then if you're going to break it up via security. Anyway, the chaos continued, mayhem was continued, and we faded from NXT with all the mayhem occurring. And I guess it gave you you need to tune in next week to find out what happens with this brawl. What's going on? How did this end properly? But yeah, that was the first live episode, I guess you can say. Obviously, it's been on Sci-Fi before. But that was when NXT wasn't at its peak, I guess you could say. The first live episode on the USA Network, at least, as well as the WWE Network, if you will. The first 2-hour episode of NXT, and it was good. It was pretty good. It set up matches for next week in a couple of weeks' time, which they need to do, especially with AEW coming on the horizon. Obviously, they're going to have a lot of support. People are going to be watching both, me included, hopefully. And they're going to need to try and, especially with NXT getting a couple of weeks a head start on AEW, start building for next week's episodes and a couple of weeks' time. Because if you can have some massive, massive matches on that October 2nd show when AEW starts, that's just going to take ratings away from AEW onto your show, which is a needs must if you're going to have a Wednesday night war, I guess. Some elements of it could have been better, I guess you could say, but production-wise, we know how good WWE are in terms of production. Nothing really went wrong. It's nothing that I can remember anyway. The matches were good. Like I said, some of them could have clicked into that higher gear, but just it's not all about putting on 5-star matches straight away. Let's build up to that. And we had a lot of matches. Let me just see how many matches we had. We had 8 matches altogether in a 2-hour show. 8 matches. That was only 2 less than Clash of Champions. So, granted, a couple of them were not very long matches, but still, 8 matches, 2-hour show. It flew by. I had a lot of fun. I'm sure the Full Sail crowd had a lot of fun. They certainly were still involved like any other Full Sail crowd. And I enjoyed myself. And NXT, I thought, got off to a pretty damn good start. How did you like NXT? Leave your comments down below on what your thoughts on that were. And remember to follow us on all social medias. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Links for that are in the description. I'm sure if you search Bad Bookers, you'll find them on your social media of choice. Go to our website. It's currently under construction, but you can still check it out. www.badbookers.com. We also have a Patreon if you want to support that, and content is going to be coming out on this channel very, very regularly now. We're going to come back with reviews. Obviously, we've got the podcast, a look back at recent shows, predictions will be coming, all that jazz. There should be a video near enough every day coming up on this channel now. Fingers crossed, depending on how much time I have and how much time the rest of the lads have. But if you did enjoy that, leave a like. Why not consider subscribing? Hit that bell so you don't miss out on the rest of our reviews. And I shall see you again in a review that I'm not too sure when. I assume it'll be Monday for Monday Night Raw, or Tuesday. It might come out Tuesday for Raw. But obviously the podcast is coming out later tonight as time of recording. So that will be out over the weekend. The full podcast and a little couple of bits from the podcast will be coming out over the weekend. So why not check that out as well? Anyway, like I said, like, subscribe, and I shall see you very, very shortly.